The autumn wind is a league, holding the treasures ye may seek. Have some fun and play along, whether for a day or for a week. Seek advice from a sage, or battle straight up. Square off in a cage, or joust without a cup. It's a FanDuel. Is it your favorite you take, or make the logical play? Will your foes stand before you and quiver and quake, as you will be crowned prince for a day? The autumn wind may be a casual player, FanDueling just to talk trash. But there will be those that will play, that will be able to say, I've got my hands on some cold, hard cash.
Hello and welcome to the Box Scores FanDuel Draft Day. I'm Brock here in Los Angeles from our very own Red Zone set, joined by the Danettes who are in Milford and ready to draft their teams from the comfort of the simulator. Now, we are approaching the final weeks of the season in the NFL, and the storylines are developing left and right. Paulie, what's been the biggest fantasy storyline developing in the man cave?
In the man cave, I think it's how we're learning as we go. And I think there's mistakes all of us made in week one, how we picked our teams. And I don't know if what we've learned has helped us, but I think I'm picking smarter these days. I think you pick by matchups, you don't pick the hot guy just because he had a great week last week, but it's tough not to.
All right, well, another chapter has come to a close with the conclusion of week 11, and here are the standings. It was a close finish at the top as McLovin barely edged out Seton by a mere point for his first place finish since week one. Now, the boss earns the Fritzy Middle of the Road Award, while Paulie and Fritzy finished 4th and 5th, respectively. McLovin, how does this feel to be back on top after so many weeks at second place?
I mean, it wasn't. I feel like you're leading me in a negative direction.
Well, let's look at this for a second.
It's more than half the season.
Well, hey, you know.
Let's look at this for a second. I have 2 first place. See, I think you have 3 or 4 possibly. So McLovin, you have 2. Fritzy, how many do you have?
I think I have 2 first place.
2.
But this is the 4th time I've been in the money, and.
But that's not what we're talking about.
Well, I'm about the cash money, baby, as my friend Johnny said. And I got 40 big ones, 40 smackaroos this week. On top of my $350 first place winning in week 1, I'd say I'm doing pretty good.
Nice.
You are stuffing the mattress. Okay, with week 11 now history, it's time to try to learn from the ups and downs so that some of you may not be doomed to repeat it. I'll let the guys take over from here. It's Paulie and his finger-licking good picking.
Well, this is interesting because Thomas Rawls, my boy Thomas Rawls, 209 yards and a TD, 3 catches and a TD. Now, I wonder how many people picked him, though. Because a lot of people are going, everyone's going to pick him this week. But I would like to know who picked him last week because I can't see a reason to pick him last week. I would love to know the percentage of people who picked that guy. Cam Newton, he's starting to put up fantasy numbers. He was always like a guy who had decent passing yards and maybe like a touchdown or 2, and then like 60 yards rushing. But now his numbers are really starting to explode.
Schedule turn, Tennessee and Washington.
It sure helps.
Yeah.
So Cam Newton, 5 touchdowns the other day. Doug Martin, the muscle hamster. The Dougastrator? What's the?
Oh, he doesn't like muscle hamster. He wants a new nickname.
We had the little buckaroo.
It was like
Dougastrator.
The Duggernaut.
The Duggernaut.
Yeah,
Duggernaut's a great
which
nickname.
is great.
Yeah.
I mean, Doug's a cool name, but not a tough name. So the Duggernaut had 235 yards rushing. No TVs. What up with that, as Chris Carter would say. Now let's go to Fritzy with some busts.
When I hear the word bust, I think of something sexy, but that's not the case this week on the fantasy front. Oh no, Tavon Austin, not sexy at all. 1 catch, 5 yards, minimal rushing production, and a fumble. I got only 0.6, that's right, 0.6 points from the Rams receiver, one of your buddies from West Virginia, which certainly didn't help my team out at all. Another bust, Amari Cooper, who I've played several times in my fantasy teams. Didn't do much better. 1 catch, 4 yards, that was it. Thankfully, no fumble at least, but still 0.9 fantasy points if you picked Amari Cooper. Serious lack of sex appeal from those 2 particular wideouts. We now throw it to Seton, who has your breakthrough rock star.
2 weeks in a row now, we've got a Chiefs star breaking through. But this young man, I'll tell you a little bit about him. He's from Cincinnati, Ohio. He went to LSU, and he was filling in for the injured Sharkhandrick, who went out in the first quarter, I think.
He sharted the bed.
He sharted the bed. Sharkhandrick the bed. Sharkhandrick. Spencer Ware, though, 96 yards, 2 touchdowns, a catch, got you 23 points fantasy-wise. That dude is pretty awesome. I don't think anybody owned him. And I'm not, well, I guess he's going to get most of the carries this week, if not all of them. So maybe pick him up again. He was pretty awesome.
I got a rock question for you. Can you do John Mayer face with the guitar?
He's sort of John Mayer. He goes like, oh, John Mayer, your body is wonderful.
Nice.
Anywho, McLovin, what do you have for us?
All right, this week my system-breaking quarterback is Jameis Never Nervous Winston.
Boom.
As I say that, I realize it doesn't rhyme, but he took the Eagles to town this week,
sure
Fritzy.
did.
Doug Martin ran up the field. Jameis put it into
5
the end
TDs?
zone. Yeah, ridiculous. 5 TDs, 246 yards.
Crazy.
I think it's about time that Dan announces that he was on his bandwagon all season long.
He usually does
That
that.
kind of breakthrough performance.
Yeah, his breakthrough is so good that Dan's going to actually say he
Is
called
he
it
going
a
to
week
leap
one.
off Mariota or just walk off?
No.
He's gonna say, listen, guys, okay, we watched him play in college, okay? We know.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
sitting on him first.
Nobody said this guy was going to be any good, but I said this little plucky kid out of Florida State
Plucky
could actually
kid.
throw
Plucky
5
kid.
touchdowns
Remember the
in a
night
week, and he
I
did it.
discovered him and he won the Heisman?
Plucky. Very nice before Thanksgiving. Solid breakdown there from the guys. I think the Cam Newton dance has been helping his production lately, by the way. Don't go away. We're going to get you ready for Week 12 with the Danette's Challenge and Fritzy and Pauly's lineup. And remember, in your fantasy truck league, you need to keep the Ram 1500 EcoDiesel on your roster every week. This bad boy can climb a hill, haul a trailer, and will get you at least 100 points every week. Get more facts at ramtrucks.com. Guts, glory, Ram. Welcome back to the Box Scores FanDuel Draft Day. Time to get ready for Week 12. See what I did there? All right. But first, let's reveal the Danette's Challenge for this week. McLovin, what do you got?
We call this the A-Team week. Like A-Team?
I pity the fool.
What's that expression that Mr. T? I pity the fool. I pity the
That's
fool.
not from A-Team at all.
That's Mr. T
Not at
from.
all.
Yeah, he did it on the A-Team.
I love it when a plan comes together. That's
said it in- I don't know if he
that's what
said it
George
in
Papar used to say. You take the cigar. I love it when a plan
So when did Mr. T say I pity the fool? In Rocky?
Yeah.
Yeah, I pity the fool.
He never said it once in A-Team?
Prediction pain.
Well, anyway, I pity the fool who didn't take...
Never came back.
Can I tell the story?
And Fritzy, that Mr. T face, he goes, It's
I
like
told you I'd do it. I told you I'd do it. Yeah.
That's that face you were making over there
It
when
was
you
very
said your
similar
back was
to
hurting
the
and you were
back
actually
gas face. Yeah.
passing gas all over the studio. Back to you.
Guys,
Sorry,
the
McLovin.
A-Team, I pity the fool who doesn't... Do you guys want to know what the challenge is this week?
No, not really.
You had to take a pass catcher whose name started with A. First name started with A. A catch.
What?
You had to take a receiver whose name started with A, but you could take a tight end too.
We did?
Yeah.
I thought you had to take somebody who from a last place
That's
team.
exactly what it was. You had to pick a defense or a player.
There was an
from the last
audible.
place.
Okay, A is for audible.
That clears that up.
Yeah, A, allow me to throw one in the mix, if you will. You have to select a player who's made a cameo in a movie or a TV show. Could be the A-Team. Fritzy, do you think you could find a player or two who's been on camera?
That would take a while, but at least I do have someone that covers both of the other ones we mentioned. I have someone from the last place team, and I have an A wide receiver. So we will start with quarterback Phillip Rivers of the last place
Think he's
San
gonna have a
Diego
good game?
Chargers. I think he's going to have a good game at Jacksonville. He's going to have a good game. I don't think much of Jacksonville's defense. I could be wrong, but I think Phillip Rivers lights it up at the Jaguars. Thomas Rawls, I jumped on that bandwagon.
Probably have a good game, you hoping?
Hosting the Steelers. He's making fun of me.
I see what you did there.
That's what I like to say. So I hope he has a good game, Thomas Rawls. That's why I put him in there, in hopes that he'll have a good game. Lamar Miller, went back to Lamar Miller at the Jets. I think he'll have a good game. There I go. That's my thing.
You can't not say it.
I can't. It's a little tick.
But by the nature
I'm
you
gonna try
draft
not
him,
to.
wouldn't you assume that if you draft him, you think he's going to have a
What
good
would
Sometimes it's
better
for financial
insight
reasons.
be?
Sometimes you don't run out of money.
He may have a good game because...
Yeah, you can
I
talk
like
about
the
the
matchup.
but a lot of it's because I
But if you
don't
don't
have a
get the
certain
team
amount
he's
of money.
against and you say, I like the matchup.
It's a tick. I'm
Back
working
to
on Odell Beckham Jr. at Washington. I'm going to just leave it at that. I think Odell Beckham Jr. will have a good day. I'm doing it again.
But you didn't leave it.
I think Odell Beckham Jr. is going to have a good game.
This is definitely the best segment we've ever done.
Larry
wearing
Fitzgerald at the 49ers. Amari Cooper, and there's your A right there, Amari Cooper. I don't know why I went back to him, the whole Raiders thing, but he's at the Titans,
get you
so
big
Amari
point nine.
Cooper.
Expect a lot out of him.
Vernon Davis hosting New England Sunday night. Vernon Davis has been getting some looks from Brock Osweiler.
There it
I
is.
think he's going to catch a couple touchdown passes Sunday night. Josh Brown.
Another second-tier
at
replacement.
the Redskins. He's going to kick some field goals for me and some extra points.
Well, I mean, he's not going to score touchdowns.
It's not going to score. You never know. He
second
could do a little
Brown.
fake. And the
Not
Bengals
as good as his
defense
predecessor.
Ooh.
hosting the Rams.
I wish I had taken the Bengals.
Bengals defense hosting Jeff Fisher's St. Louis Rams.
He'll have a good game.
Fritzy, you got Philip
Think he'll have
Happy
good
Feet
defense.
Rivers as your quarterback. If he single-handedly wins you the league this week, will you start to like the guy?
No. I think he's a whining crybaby, and I always wish bad things on all the teams in the Broncos division. And there was another incident with Philip Rivers we didn't mention on the show, but it's made its rounds on some various websites where him and Antonio Gates they were yelling on the sideline. And
I'm surprised you didn't bring this up this week on the Dave Patrick Show.
I was thinking about it, but I let it go because I feel like I'm already too biased against Philip Rivers. But more pushing, shoving, yelling, screaming, and whining among the San Diego Chargers, which is
You
really
should
nice to
embrace
see.
your hatred of Philip
should.
Rivers. Like, make it your thing.
He embraces his hate of you.
We've asked him on the show many times. I'm starting him in week 12, so there is a little bit of love there, at least respect that we think he's worthy of being on the show and in my week 12 FanDuel.
All right. An olive branch or an olive tapenade has been extended. On to the man who's got the master plan, Paul Pabst. Give us your lineup, please.
Well, the line producer said I have 8 seconds to give my lineup because Fritzy took all the time in this segment. Jameis Winston, D'Angelo Williams, Doug Martin, Larry Fitzgerald, Amari Cooper, Odell Beckham Jr., Antonio Gates, Nick Novak, New England Patriots defense. I think they're all going to have a good game.
He thinks that.
Quick follow-up,
That's why
he
Paulie.
picked
How in the
those
world
guys.
do you and Fritzy have the same exact receiver core?
Yeah, good question. Amari, I thought he had a bad game, and I like to bet on guys after they have a bad game who have good seasons. Larry Fitzgerald, I watched him the other day, and I was like, man, that guy still can kick ass. And the way they worked down the field to him, and they went to him at the end of the game when they needed big catches. Carson Palmer's rolling. I'd be shocked if he didn't have 5 and a touchdown. I mean, that'd be an average game for that guy.
They like to reward the guy. He does the blocking. Okay, we've got 2 lineups all set. And remember, if you want to play 1 week fantasy football against Dan and the Danettes, just go to FanDuel.com/Patrick. Enter the promo code Patrick for a 100% deposit match up to $200 on new accounts. $5 to enter, and winners get instant cash as soon as contest ends. That's FanDuel.com/Patrick. FanDuel, the leader in one-day fantasy sports. Stick around. We've got Seaton and McLovin's lineups on deck. Plus, we'll check in with the boss and see who he's taking in Week 12. We're back here on the Box Scores FanDuel Draft Day. Seaton with McLovin being the most consistent player and back in the winner's circle this week. Does this motivate you to step up your game and stack up those first place finishes? You got 4 right now.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty surprised, like pleasantly surprised at how I've done with this. I've had a few off weeks, but by and large, I've played pretty well, or picked pretty well. Last week was a heartbreaker, though, to lose by less than 2 points to McLovin. Right there, I mean, the $35 that I picked up is awesome, but it would have been better to get in the 40 zone. And it's sort of stoked the competitive fire a little bit.
That's a different tax
Love,
bracket.
you should wave a $5 bill at Seaton and just taunt him.
It's a totally different tax bracket.
Finsky?
The great emancipator. All right, let's see who's on your team this week, Seaton. Who do you got?
Just like everybody and their brother, I've got Carson Palmer, I've got Doug Martin, I've got Thomas Jane Yeldon, I've got Sir Lawrence Fitzgerald. See, I'm doubling up on the points there. I like that. Stevie Johnson, I've got DeAndre Hopkins, who I don't think I've picked yet, but he seems to have monster games. Apparently, I have Antonio Gates too, so that's the A thing. Although he counts for a last placer
You got
and
both.
an A
Look at
name.
that. You did
Rad, I
double.
forgot about that. I'm going with Gostkowski and the Jets defense. I like that matchup.
You think they're all going to do well?
Good Lord willing, all goes well. They'll do well.
Seaton, break down your roster for us. You got both Steven Johnson and Antonio Gates from the last place Chargers. Do you have more faith in the Charger offense being good, or do you just think the Jaguars D is just that bad?
You know, that's actually something that I've done quite a few times where I'll take like both Raiders wide receivers, and this time I've got two players from the Chargers. I like the Chargers to put up, I don't know how actually offensively, statistically how they do, but Phillip Rivers usually puts up monster numbers. They just don't win any games, so I'm okay getting the points off of a bunch of losers. No offense.
Losers.
Okay, it's time to head to the winner's circle where Andrew Perloff is waiting to give you his goods. McLovin, your lineup, please.
Okay, Seton and I basically have the same team once again. Carson Palmer at quarterback, although I had Russell Wilson to the last second, and I truly regret that because I think there could be big points in that game, and Russell's playing really well. Running back, I went with Lou Rawls like everybody else, and Doug Martin. You know what? I said to myself, don't be the idiot who picks a guy who did so well last week. Then I said, don't be the idiot who outthinks himself and doesn't pick the guy who's so good last week. Then I said, don't be the idiot that thinks you're an idiot for being an idiot by picking that guy.
There's a few people who think you're an idiot right now.
Wide receiver, I take Allen Robinson every week for obvious reasons. He's the man. Now, Martavis Bryant's been my dude all year long. So throwing in with there and some other guys.
Marty.
Tight end, I really wanted to fit in Gary Barnidge this week. I did so bad, but then I came up $300 short, so I went with Tyler Eifert-Tower. And then, why is he questionable?
No, he's just not questionable playing.
Questionable in terms of holding on to the ball.
Earlier in the season, he had those big numbers, and then he kind of fell off the face of the earth.
Then I feel real good about the KC defense this week. Real good.
Who are you talking to on the phone?
Good.
No, it's all right. Anyway, I have my lineup for the Thanksgiving Best of special set up.
There you have
Okay,
it.
well, McLovin, how hesitant were you going with Thomas Rawls against the fifth best rushing defense in the league?
Fifth best what now?
Rushing defense.
Excuse me for a moment. I'm going to go to my computer. I will be right back.
We'll wait. Did he call him Lou Rawls, by the way?
He did call
him Lou Rawls.
I am so excited to announce there's been a change in McLovin's fantasy lineup. Now I'm going with Sharkandrick West at running back.
Fantastic.
Fortunately, he's hurt, so he won't
Brock,
play.
excuse me for a moment.
Yes.
Excuse me for a moment. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Pick up Spencer, man. Go Spencer. Spencer Ware. My breakthrough rock star.
We have good news. I've taken Spencer Ware on my team. Yes.
Finally.
Go Spencer.
All right, thank you, Mr. McLovin. All right, don't go away. It's a lineup that you've all been waiting for. That's right, it's Dan Patrick's. But first, we're going to take a break and remind you that the Ram Heavy Duty, with its best-in-class towing torque and horsepower, doesn't need one, just like McLovin going back and forth on his lineup. It is certain about its lineup every week. Guts, glory, Ram. Hey, we're closing up shop here on the Box Scores FanDuel Draft Day. And don't forget you, that's right, you can also take on Dan and the Danettes in weekly fantasy football. Just go to FanDuel.com/Patrick and enter the promo code Patrick for your 100% deposit match up to $200 on new accounts. $5 to enter, and winners get instant cash as soon as contest ends. Now, Fritzy the boss has been much better since you called him out a couple weeks ago, even finishing ahead of you this week. Have you heard any trash talk from DP after he smoked you?
I have not. He took the high road and was classy enough to not put it in my face, but I did call him out, and he's gotten progressively better. I've gotten progressively worse, and I knew I'm not a big trash talker, and I knew as soon as I started talking and saying some stuff about Dan and his lineups, it was going to come back to haunt me, and finishing in last place with 60 points plus whatever Brady got me last night showed that I should probably keep my mouth closed.
All right, well, DP has been in fuego, shall I say, lately. Let's see if he can keep it going. Here's Dan's lineup in the form of Boss's thoughts.
So I gave the Danettes a head start, and I said, go out, build up your confidence, see what you can do with your fantasy team. Now there's no more joke, okay? The last couple of weeks I've cashed. I told them now is when the playoffs start for me. I got Eli Manning, I got Doug Martin, let's see. I got Allen Robinson, I got Brandon Marshall, I got Landry with the Dolphins, Heath Miller with the Steelers. Let's see, I got the Giants place kicker, I got the Bengals defense. Yeah, that's the lineup there. It's not star-studded, It's just balance. See, Seaton's trying to come in and see who I picked on my team. Nice try. Nice try.
I'm not trying to steal his lineup. Who's he kidding? I mean, I appreciate the game Dan's playing here, especially since, you know, he's the face of Football Night in America and everything, but pretty sure I've beaten him almost every week. Whether or not I'm in first or fourth, he was probably in fifth. So if anything, I would say if you want any advice or tips, I'm happy to sit down with you and go over your lineup.
Do you have a 1-900 number? You don't have anything like that.
I'm thinking about doing that. I'm working. I bought the domain, so we're working on the website now.
I kick us at FanDuel.com?
Right, yeah. So I think it's called FanDuelGuru.com. We're also getting that, and we're just working out the branding right now.
All right, boy, a lot of energy behind that. McLovin, the boss is going with Eli Manning, who had a good showing against the Skins in New York, but Washington is a much better team at home. Can Eli get it done on the road?
Washington you're right about that. They were so awful last week, it was unbelievable. Their secondary's banged up. This is going to be a big day for Eli. Actually, the second he said that, I'm like, dang, I should have taken Eli. But I seem to be doing that forever. I looked hard at Eli. I had a Russell, Eli, Carson Palmer debate. And honestly, I took Palmer because he was the most expensive of the group. I'm like, well, he's the most expensive. I should take him.
That'd be good.
Stupid McLovin.
Oh, all right. Quick, tell us which Danette comes out on top this week.
Yeah, I'm playing the odds lately. I'm going to go with Seaton. He's got a lot of consistency these days, and I think he's going to pull it off.
All right, well, it's time for me to pick which Danette I think is going to come out on top, and I'm going with McLovin to run the table the rest of the season. Booyah! Nice. Fritzy, tell us who's on the Dan Patrick Show next week.
Okay, well, I'll give you, first of all, this is a Thanksgiving Day special edition. We're going to be sharing some of our favorite recent interviews, which include Jason Giambi, Jose Bautista, Abby Wambach, AJ Green, Joe Buck, Greg Olson, Mark Wahlberg, Drew Brees, Carson Palmer, Clay Helton, Geddy Lee, Tyler Eifert, all part of the Thanksgiving Day special.
When are you doing your turkey-related sports?
I actually wrote those up.
Turkey Jones?
I wrote those up a couple of days ago, and there's some questionable ones, and you guys are going to have to week at it.
Over my dead body, they're going on there.
Bob Grady.
I'll fight it.
I do have there's one that's like Darryl Cranberry instead of Darryl Strawberry. That doesn't work. There's a little bit of a reach.
All right, thanks for watching the Box Scores FanDuel Draft Show. You can watch the Danettes make their selections every Thursday right here in Audience, or via the podcast, or on iTunes, or at podcast1.com. Happy Thanksgiving.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Hey, thanks for watching the Box Score. Holy cow!